I'm sure this has to be a season low, 7 turnovers. Wow.
Look at her. I'm sure. And then she immediately looks at the camera. See, I had to go back and watch this to get the full understanding and context of what she's saying. She immediately looks at the camera.
You take care of the ball, you give yourself a chance, right? 13 offensive rebounds.
That's Stephanie White, head coach of the Indiana Fever, and she just spent 27 seconds celebrating a loss. You heard that right. They lost to the Las Vegas Aces last night, and she's standing there bragging about offensive rebounds and third-quarter defense like they just won the championship. But that's not even the part that should bother you.
There has been a lot of funny business going on with the Indiana Fever, including one individual only. That is Stephanie White. Now, yesterday they played the Las Vegas Aces. There was several things that stuck out in this one. We got her sneak dissing, allegedly, Caitlin Clark. We got her talking to Becky Hammond. Hey, Becky, right on for having us, Steph, at that press conference. Yeah, because that's probably what she said. Because we all know they ride together, they die together, they bad girls for life in this thing.
So let's back up. The Indiana Fever have been a mess all season, but something shifted when Stephanie White took over as head coach, and the shift isn't what Caitlin Clark fans wanted to see. Because according to what's happening on the court and what White is saying in these press conferences, she's not building this team around the rookie who just broke every viewership record in women's basketball. She's building it around Kelsey Mitchell. And if you've been watching the games, you already know how that's going. Mitchell dropped 30 points last night. Sounds great until you look at the shot chart. She's averaging over 20 points per game this season, but only 3 assists. That's not a point guard running an offense. That's a shooting guard hunting her own numbers while the actual franchise player, the one who sold out arenas in 40 cities this year, is being used as a decoy.
She bragging about 30.
Extra possessions matter. We out-rebounded them 39-30. Really good stuff. First quarter, y'all, they shot 62%. By the second quarter, we had them down to 45. By the third quarter, down to 40. And we ended the game in the 40s. And third quarter, 26-14. We came out of the gate ready to go. Okay, all of that matters. All of that matters. We were resilient early in the first quarter, and then we continued to climb throughout the rest of the game. Okay, really proud of you guys. That's a great win. It's a great effort. All right.
Listen to how she talks. Really proud of you guys. Great effort. They lost by double digits. The Aces shot 62% in the first quarter, and the Fever never led once. But Stephanie White is out here doing the participation trophy routine like they just played their hearts out in a scrimmage. And look at her body language. She glances at the camera right after she mentions the turnovers. 7 turnovers. She's acting like that's some kind of defensive masterpiece. For context, the Fever averaged over 15 turnovers per game earlier this season under the previous coach. 7 is decent. It's not a miracle, but she's framing it like they just held the Aces to 0.
If you guys don't know, last time they played the Las Vegas Aces, Kelsey Mitchell was being carried off the court. Aaliyah Boston fouled out in that game. The ref was just on some fuck stuff, I should say. And it was just an ugly, ugly game for them.
Now, here's where it gets messy. The last time these two teams played, Kelsey Mitchell got hurt. She was carried off the court after a hard foul from Alicia Clark. The officiating in that game was brutal. Even neutral fans were calling it out. The Fever lost that one too, and it was ugly. So you'd think in the rematch, White would come in with a game plan that protects her stars and actually tries to win. Instead, she comes out celebrating moral victories and talking about how resilient they were in the first quarter. Resilient means you got punched in the mouth and survived. It doesn't mean you won, and it definitely doesn't mean you're building a championship contender.
Now, there is going to be some cap situations going on for next season. Indiana Fever going to have a tough pill to swallow here because I believe Caitlin Clark is eligible for the Supermax or a max next year. Now, I still believe Caitlin Clark is going to get the hell out of Indy after this year. That's just my own personal theory. It ain't nobody else's opinion. It ain't fact. I just want to let y'all know that. This is just what I believe.
But here's the real issue, and this is what Fever fans need to hear. The salary cap situation next year is about to force a decision. Caitlin Clark becomes eligible for a Supermax extension. That's the highest tier of contract in the WNBA, reserved for the league's absolute best players. And she's earned it. She's the reason the Fever went from playing in front of 3,000 people to selling out every arena they visit. Kelsey Mitchell is also a free agent next year, and after 2 seasons of the Fever running the offense through her, she's going to want Supermax money too. The problem? You can't pay both. The cap doesn't allow it. So Indiana has a choice to make, and based on what Stephanie White is doing right now, it looks like she's already made it.
Leave. Now, let's say Caitlin Clark be a good girl for the Fever and be like, you know what, I'll run it back one more year despite how this season go. She running back. What they going to do with Kelsey Mitchell? The whole person they didn't pretty much sacrifice 2 seasons for to build the offense around. Yeah, I can't pay everybody. Kelsey Mitchell gonna think she's a supermax player. Now, I'm not saying she don't deserve the supermax, but let's see how Kelsey Mitchell play for a team where she's not the primary target or the primary person that the offense is running through. Because it's clear as day it is. She down there had 30 yesterday. She's averaging over 20 points, and she's having 3 assists. She ain't passing the ball. She's chunking up shots. I think we all could agree on that.
Now I'm going to say something that's just my opinion, not a report, not a rumor, just what I believe is going to happen. Caitlin Clark is going to leave Indiana after this season, not because she's a diva, not because she can't handle losing, but because the organization has shown her exactly where she ranks in their plans, and it's not number 1. If she stays, if she decides to run it back and give them 1 more year despite everything, they still have to deal with Kelsey Mitchell. And Mitchell isn't taking a discount. She's been the focal point of this offense for 2 years. She's putting up 20 plus a night. She thinks she's the franchise, and Stephanie White is feeding that belief every single game. You can't pay everyone, so who do you keep? The guard who's been here for years and puts up empty stats on a losing team? Or the generational talent who just changed the entire financial trajectory of your franchise?
Now, this was Stephanie White at the conclusion of the game last night, man. Now, I'm telling you this, bro. This is troubling. This is troubling as an Indiana Fever fan. Now, I know some of y'all might have heard this earlier today, but hell, we got to play it again. We got to play it again like a mug because I want y'all to listen very good to what she's saying.
You take care
Let's start it over.
All right, y'all. Great job. Great job. We did a lot of great.
And here's the thing about Kelsey Mitchell that nobody wants to say out loud. She's a good player. She can score, but she's never been the number 1 option on a winning team. She's been the number 1 option on bad Fever teams for years, and it hasn't worked. Her assist numbers are low because she doesn't pass. Her defense is inconsistent, and the offense doesn't flow when she's dominating the ball. Now put her on a team where she's not the primary option, where the offense runs through someone else, and she has to play off the ball. Does she take a backseat? Does she buy in? Or does she force shots and disrupt the rhythm because that's what she's been doing her entire career? I'm not saying she's a bad teammate. I'm saying she's been conditioned to play a certain way. And Stephanie White is reinforcing that instead of fixing it.
Yeah, so that was Stephanie White at the conclusion of the game. Now, I'm here to tell you, she had some more stuff to say at the podium. Now, this was Stephanie White at the podium.
Let's talk about what happened in that press conference after the game, because this is where you really see the disconnect. Stephanie White spent the entire session talking about effort, resilience, and small victories. She didn't talk about what went wrong. She didn't talk about why they couldn't score in the 4th quarter. She didn't talk about the defensive breakdowns that let the Aces shoot over 60% early. She talked about how proud she was, and that's a losing mentality. When you're proud of a loss, you're telling your team that losing is acceptable as long as you try hard. That's not how you build a contender. That's how you build a team that's comfortable finishing 9th in the league.
This one, we got her sneak dissing allegedly Caitlin Clark. We got her talking to Becky Hammond. Hey, Becky, right on for having us, Steph, at that press conference. Yeah, because that's probably what she said. Because we all know they.
And then there's this. Caitlin Clark was allegedly caught on camera talking to Becky Hammond, the Aces head coach, after the game. Now we don't have confirmed audio, but the assumption, based on how close Clark and Hammond have been in the past, is that they were talking about something beyond just the game. Maybe about the future. Maybe about what it's like to play for a coach who actually believes in you. Becky Hammond is one of the best coaches in the WNBA. She's won championships, she's developed players, and she's not out here celebrating losses. If Caitlin Clark is having conversations with her, that should terrify Indiana, because it means she's already thinking about what's next. Now let's talk about the business side, because this is where it gets really uncomfortable for the Fever front office. Caitlin Clark is the most valuable player in the WNBA right now, and it's not close. She's not the best player. Aja Wilson is still the reigning MVP, and she's earned that. But in terms of what Clark brings to a franchise financially, nobody else is in the same universe. The Fever's attendance is up over 400% compared to last year. Their road games are selling out arenas that have never sold out for women's basketball. Their merchandise sales are through the roof, and every national TV game they play in gets record viewership. All of that is because of Caitlin Clark. So if you're the Fever ownership, you're looking at next year's cap situation and you're doing the math. Do you pay Kelsey Mitchell supermax money and risk losing Caitlin Clark? Or do you let Mitchell walk and build everything around the player who just made you more money in one season than the franchise made in the previous 5 combined? But here's the problem. Stephanie White has already made her choice. She's running the offense through Kelsey Mitchell. She's praising Mitchell in every press conference. She's giving her the green light to shoot 30 times a game. And she's treating Caitlin Clark like a role player who should be grateful to be on the floor. That's not speculation, that's what's happening on the court. Clark is getting fewer touches in the half-court offense than she did earlier in the season. She's being used as a spot-up shooter instead of a primary ball handler, and when she does create offense, it's usually in transition, not in the structured sets that Stephanie White is drawing up. If you're building around someone, you don't do that. You put the ball in their hands and let them control the game. The Fever aren't doing that with Caitlin Clark. They're doing it with Kelsey Mitchell. And that tells you everything you need to know about where Stephanie White's head is at. And look, I get it. Kelsey Mitchell has been with this team for years. She's been loyal, she's put up numbers on bad teams and never complained publicly. There's a loyalty factor here, and I'm not saying the Fever should just discard her, but loyalty doesn't win championships. Talent does. And if you have to choose between loyalty to a good player and building around a generational talent, that's not a hard decision. Unless you're Stephanie White, because she's acting like it's 2022 and Kelsey Mitchell is still the best player on the roster. She's not. She hasn't been since Caitlin Clark walked through the door. And the longer White pretends otherwise, the more likely it is that Clark walks out that same door and never comes back.
Very ugly.
Now let's talk about what happens next, because this is where the Fever are running out of time. The season's almost over. They're not making the playoffs. That's been clear for weeks. So the off-season is when all of this gets decided. Caitlin Clark is going to have options. She's under contract for next year, so she can't just leave. But she can make it very clear that she's not happy. She can request a trade. She can refuse to sign an extension. And if the Fever are smart, they'll read the room and make the changes she wants before it gets to that point. But if Stephanie White is still the coach next year, and if Kelsey Mitchell is still getting 30 shots a game, then Clark is gone. Maybe not immediately, but eventually, because nobody that talented is going to waste their prime on a team that doesn't believe in them. And here's the other thing that should scare Fever fans. The WNBA is changing. Expansion teams are coming. New markets are opening up. And when those teams start building their rosters, they're going to throw everything they have at Caitlin Clark. They're going to offer her the Supermax, full creative control, and a coach who actually wants to build around her. So Indiana's window to fix this is closing fast. They've got one off-season to figure out who they are and what they want to be. Do they want to be a team that wins? Or do they want to be a team that's loyal to players who've been there the longest, even if those players aren't good enough to win a championship? Because right now, they're choosing loyalty, and loyalty without results is just losing with extra steps.
So that was the press conference, man. I want to know y'all thoughts down in the comments section right now. Be sure to make sure you guys keep your bells on. I will be coming back with more content. Like the video, hype the video, and until next.
So here's the bottom line. Stephanie White is ditching Caitlin Clark. Not literally, not in some dramatic public way, but in the way that actually matters. On the court, in the game plan, in who gets the ball when it matters. She's building this team around Kelsey Mitchell, and it's not going to work. It's never worked. And the longer they pretend it will, the more likely it is that the best thing to ever happen to the Indiana Fever walks away and never looks back. So what do you think? Is Stephanie White making the right call building around Kelsey Mitchell, or is she about to cost Indiana the most valuable player in franchise history? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you made it this far, hit the like button and subscribe, because we've got a lot more to talk about as this situation plays out. Until next time, shake the haters off.